Welcome everyone. In this video we'll discuss about A Prayer for My Daughter written by William Butler Yeats. Let's begin. A Prayer for My Daughter by William Butler Yeats speaks about the poet's family. It demonstrates his concern and anxiety over the future well-being and prospects of his daughter, Annie. Yeats wrote A Prayer for My Daughter in 1919, shortly after his daughter's birth and World War II. So the ongoing unsettling feel is visible in the background and poet's mind. W.B. Yeats, in his 10th stanza poem, A Prayer for My Daughter, questions how best to raise his daughter. Though by 1919 the war was over in Ireland, it yet turned normal. So he ponders how she will survive the difficult times ahead in the politically turbulent times. The poem not only expresses the helplessness of Yeats as a father, but all fathers who had to walk through this situation. He wants to give his daughter a life of beauty and innocence, safety and security. He further wants her to be well mannered and full of humility, free from intellectual hatred and being strongly opinionated. Finally, he wants her to get married into an aristocratic family which is rooted in spirituality and traditional values. Theme and setting of A Prayer for My Daughter. The poem A Prayer for My Daughter portrays the theme of love and anxiety of a father who has been blessed with a daughter. It also presents the poet's hope for his daughter and his expectation of her becoming a very beautiful woman, blessed with the attributes of a virtuous soul. The setting of the poem is uncertain, for the poem is conceived in the mind of the poet. The speaker is the poet himself talking to his daughter. The poem is conversational and didactic in tone, with varying emotions of gloom, uncertainty, hope, and fear. Analysis of Prayer for My Daughter. The poem A Prayer for My Daughter opens with the image of the child sleeping in a cradle, half hidden by its hood. The child sleeps innocently amidst the howling storm outside, but Yeats couldn't settle down due to the storm inside. The direct impact of the wind, meaning to the force of the outside world, especially on his daughter, worries the poet. Because of this great gloom, he walked out and prayed for his daughter to be protected from the physical storm outside and the political storm brewing outside across Ireland. In the second stanza of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats worries about the future. He hears the sea screaming upon the tower, under the bridge, and above the flooded stream. The onomatopoeia words scream and the flooded stream symbolize the poet's overwhelming anxiety for his daughter. Due to his haunting fear, he imagines the future coming out of the sea and dances to the frenzied drum, referring to war and bloodshed. In the last line, the poet employs paradox, murderous innocence, to contrast the world and his daughter. In the third stanza of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats prays for his daughter to be gifted with beauty. At the same time, he doesn't want her beauty to distort or make her dependent on her beauty for everything. Further, he doesn't want her to become proud or vain, that she spends all day staring at the mirror and fails to have natural companionships. The poet implies too much beauty to be dangerous one, that he wants her to be beautiful enough to secure a husband. In stanza 4 of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats proves his view on how excessive beauty has always been a source of trouble and destruction. He turns to Helen in Greek mythology, considered to be the most beautiful woman on earth, brought the doom upon her and many others. In stanza 5 of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet continues with that he wants his daughter to possess more than more mere beauty. He wants his daughter to learn to be compassionate and kind. Many times, men who believed to love and loved by the beautiful woman faced disappointment compared to those found love in the modest yet compassionate woman. Moreover, He says modest and courteous people attract hearts than those with beauty. Referring to his marriage, ultimately, he makes it clear that he wants his daughter to be an agreeable young woman than an arrogant beauty. In stanza 6 of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats continues to talk about his hopes and expectations for his daughter. As she grew up, he wants her to be happy and content. He wants her to become a flourishing hidden tree, and her thoughts like a linnet, referring to its innocence and cheerfulness. Like a linnet, he wants her to be satisfied in herself and infect others with her happiness. Further, he wants her to live like a laurel, rooted in a particular place. The poet reveals his wish on his daughter being rooted in the tradition. Yeats continues to talk about self contentment woman in stanza 7 of A Prayer for My Daughter. He believes that kind, self contained, traditionally rooted women are incorruptible. The poet considers hatred to be the cause of all devil and prays that her to be left of that evil. In stanza 8 of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet implores his daughter to be temperate because people who love deeply could hate deeply too. Hate destroys people and makes them do cruel things, especially intellectual hatred, which is worst of all kinds. The poet reflects upon his emotional state when Maud Gonne rejected him to marry John Macbridge. He wants his daughter to experience neither the disappointment nor hatred. The ninth stanza continues to describe the impact of hatred and the benefit of staying away from hatred. Once hatred is driven out, the soul could recover its innocence. Then the soul would be free to explore and find that it is self delighting, self appeasing, and self affrighting. According to the poet, the ideal woman makes everyone happy and comfortable despite all storms of misfortunes that come in her way. In the last stanza of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet expresses his final wish. He prays that his daughter to be married to a good husband who takes her to a home with aristocratic values and traditions. There he believes that neither arrogance nor hatred of common folks could be found, but morality and purity. Further, the poet doesn't want her to live a decadent life. He concludes by stating that his daughter would be rooted in spiritual values like a laurel tree. Form and structure of A Prayer for My Daughter. The poem A Prayer for My Daughter, written in the lyric form containing 10 line stanzas. Each stanza follows a regular rhyme scheme of A A B B C D D C. The poem follows a metrical structure that alternates between iambic pentameter and trochaic pentameter. The poem is structured as a poet's appeal to God and to his daughter on how he wants her to be like as she grows up.